Welcome to Anything Goes
with Sania and Leah.
We are on episode 24 and this is a topic podcast. One that I think will help a lot of girls in prep and off season, to be honest.
Yes, agree. We're going to basically chat about cravings, hunger, how do you deal with it. We're going to touch on periods.
Yeah.
Through like prep, off season, and also if you are just dieting as well, even if you're not prepping, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
even if you're like in a fat loss phase, you still get these things.
Yeah. Or even if like you're someone who is just trying to be better with your food choices, how do you kind of change your mindset in, or how do you kind of control the devil on your shoulder that's going, eat the food,
Eat the 25 bags of biscuits.
eat the cookie box.
Oh, cookie box. Yeah. I got Rosie to order cookie box. Yes, you know they release every Friday at 8.
Every Friday, yeah.
And I was like, Rosie, you need to try this, order them. And she did. She ordered like 6.
I need to do that, to be fair. It's just like, if, like, do you remember what we said in our last podcast? Or not the last one, episode 22. If you have it... No, it wasn't in our podcast. It was in my LFP.
Oh, yeah, in your
online workshop.
Yeah, but that's only when you're on prep, though.
But no, but like, even so, if I had it, I'll go, I'm going to have one now.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I'll just go, might as well eat one. But I feel like, to be fair, she's been in an off season for a long time, hasn't she? So she's probably like...
Yeah, she's pretty good as well.
But yeah, we just wanted to kind of discuss about cravings, and do you want to start on this one and kind of like talk about just cravings in general and your kind of thought process?
Yeah, so I think obviously from like a more sciencey perspective, when you are dieting for like a prolonged period, you've got basically two hormones, one that increases your appetite and one that controls how satiated you feel. Mm-hmm. And they get affected basically when you are dieting. Oh, thank you. Okay. So it basically means that you get hungrier, so your appetite gets ramped up basically, and you don't feel as satisfied after you've eaten. So they're called leptin and ghrelin, those two hormones, and they get affected. And that's why what tends to happen is the longer you've been in a fat loss phase, and I'm talking about consistently, I'm not talking about having, multiple meals out over the week and kind of sticking to it. I'm talking about when you're consistently in a fat loss phase and you're consistently in a deficit, those two hormones get affected. So you end up, that's why like by the end of a prep, obviously
you're ravenous.
Beside from the fact that you are very low with your calories, like you wouldn't be that starving if you'd have done 1 week on those calories. It's accumulated from like
a long period of time,
weeks of dieting. So those hormones get affected, and that basically leads to you being super hungry, like not feeling full at all, and not just in a prep but throughout any sort of pretty consistent fat loss phase basically.
Yeah.
So obviously that increases hunger levels and makes you basically not very full, which can be quite hard to like deal with. So you've got that side of it, but then obviously you've got the cravings that also come with the hormonal changes that occur. So because basically your body utilizes more energy when you are due on your period or in the start of your cycle, that's why people get hungry, and people don't realize that.
Yeah, they just well, I suppose we all know that.
Yeah,
we all know, because we're like, I get really hungry on my period, I get cravings on my period, so I feel like we all know it, but you know more of the reasons why.
Yeah, but people don't know it's because their body actually utilizes more energy. Like you actually burn more calories.
Yeah, sorry.
So that's not me saying, you can go and eat more if you're on your period.
Because you burn more calories. Yeah,
like you still want to be consistent with it. It's just being aware that there is a reason. You're not going mad. There is actually a reason behind it.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, if you think about it, like your body is doing more. Like it's literally getting rid of. This is where, like, turns out I didn't listen to sex ed. You can get rid of the eggs, innit?
In a roundabout way.
Yeah, like, we're just saying, like, primary school, you get rid of the eggs, innit?
Yeah, we'll roll with that.
I should have listened to sex ed. But it's like, it's working harder because of what it needs to do.
Yeah, like your body's releasing an egg, it's ovulating, basically it just requires energy for your body to go through a menstrual cycle, which is why when you prep or you diet, you lose your menstrual cycle, because it's extra energy that your body doesn't need to use. So yeah, so there are like reasons behind it, but we're going to talk through how you can manage hunger, how you can deal with it, your mind, because I think mindset's like a big one towards it as well.
I think it's like knowing the why you feel that the way that you are, and it's also kind of thinking, right, I've got a goal, how does that measure up to what I'm feeling right now?
That's true.
If you don't care about the goal, you're most likely gonna go, well, I'm gonna have the cookie box.
Yeah.
But like in like a prep, for example, for us, there's like that goal is very big for us, and we know that we have to do everything in line to be able to get to where we need to be. So it's like the goal is so big for us, it's just not even in question. But like, for example, if we were to switch this to lifestyle, where maybe you're just trying to get better at eating healthy, the goal, obviously the goal's big, but I think you almost need like a set date or something to almost be working towards, so that you can kind of go, right, no, I need to have this willpower, because if I don't, this is going to happen. And if you don't have that chat with yourself, you're always going to give into those cravings.
Yeah, and you know what, I always think, I was actually having this conversation with my one of my lifestyle clients the other day who struggles. She's basically come from a little bit of a binge eating background, and sometimes struggles with it a bit. Occasionally, not binge eating disorder, but she struggles. She struggles with overeating, basically. And we were having the conversation of like, in a bodybuilding prep, it's, I think, relatively straightforward, because you don't make that decision, because the decision's not an option.
Yes.
Whereas if you're a lifestyle client and you're tracking your calories, you can think, oh yeah, you know what, I could probably fit in like a cookie or a couple of biscuits. And it's always that thing of like, oh, should I, shouldn't I? And you're like, it's like decision fatigue, right? Yeah. You end up building up. You can't just constantly be making decisions all the time, because you'll end up like, oh, shall I, shan't I? And it's like hard, because it's like battle of the willpower.
And you're fighting with yourself, aren't you? Like, yeah. I remember even this post show, I'm consistently going, I want it, but I can't have it. But I want it.
But you could have it if you wanted to.
There's nothing stopping me from having it.
That's like what lifestyle clients
do. So it's like, but I won't. And it's like, no, but what actually is going to happen that I actually would care about if I don't have it?
Yeah.
But it's when I feel like the one thing that you've also got to remember is what you eat is going to have a result. So like, you can't almost get upset if you overeat and give into the willpower and then gain weight, because you need to accept the fact that you have eaten more. You are now in a calorie surplus because of what you've eaten, and you can't get upset about that. You have to take ownership of that. And this is why we wanted to do this topic, because we want, if that's not the feeling that you want to feel, or if you want to be able to help your willpower, or we will provide you with some tips on maybe other things that you can go towards if with your cravings, and how you can like suppress them in certain ways, so that you can work towards your goal, but maybe at a much nicer kind of way, and not fight with yourself, and not have that feeling of guilt of, I shouldn't have eaten that, as soon as you've eaten it.
I think that's a really good point you just made there about like taking ownership of your own actions, because if you say, like, if I have a client come to me and they're like, I've got a fat loss goal, but then they're going out every single weekend and they're going over the calories, or not necessarily the weekend, but any time, right? They're going over the calories because they were a bit hungry, or they say, oh, I had some cravings. It's like, well, if you are consistently going over your calories, you know, you have to accept the fact that your progress is going to slow down. You might not even pull yourself fully out of the deficit, but you might decrease that deficit a bit. So you have to be accountable to the fact of like, you know, realistically, if you are in a fat loss phase, you are going to be hungry.
Yeah, of course you are.
You're going to have cravings because you're not giving your body enough energy. So it's like, I think people view hunger and cravings as like a really negative thing. And they're like, oh my God, how can I completely get rid of this? Because I have cravings and it's, you know.
You're going to have them.
It's just dieting. Like, you just have to suck it up a bit sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like we also don't want to sugarcoat and say, oh, you know, it's okay. No, if you're dieting, you're dieting.
Stick to your diet.
Stick to your diet. Like, we're not here saying, like, this is an excuse, you know, it's okay. Obviously, we are saying to you, obviously, those things, but also, like, if you're dieting and you genuinely are serious about your goals, stick to your diet, and whatever comes with the diet, you've chosen to do the diet. No one else has chosen or told you to do that diet.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
You must diet.
So it's like, you've chosen to do that, and of course you're going to feel hungry. You're eating less.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, like habit building.
Yeah.
So for example,
Yeah.
like start of prep, you're on loads of food, but generally you do feel a little bit hungry because you're so used to feeling so full that that little bit that's not so full, you're like,
Ooh.
I'm actually a bit hungry.
Yeah.
But then you adapt to it, and then you build habits from that. And then they say it takes like 28 days to build a habit.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the actual thing is, but like when it comes to dieting, like if you stick to your diet for a certain amount of weeks consistently, nothing's off.
Yeah.
You are more than likely to continue doing that. Whether if you start and then at the start of your diet you then you know,
Yeah,
you
I know
start
what you
to
mean.
deteriorate. It's like training. Like if you just continuously go, no matter how much you don't want to show up, it just becomes such a habit that you don't even have the questions in your head. And that's what prep is.
Yeah.
Not just because of the show and our social medias and because we've put ourselves out there and we have people that look up to us essentially, and we almost feel like we need to provide like some sort of like, I don't know, we need to make sure that we do well because of our business and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you need to show up basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like also because of the habits that we've built around prep, because the mid part of prep is probably one of the easiest parts because you've built that habit.
Yeah, you're in the routine and it's just like you get used to being a little bit hungry, and it just kind of
it's like a little bit off topic, but the hunger is just so normal.
Yeah, like you always kind of like, I'm at the point now where I'm like I'm like kind of
Could eat.
Consistently throughout the whole day, like, yeah, I could probably eat right now.
Yeah.
Like if I wasn't dieting, I would probably go and get a snack right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's the phase I'm at now, where I'm not like, oh my god, my stomach hurts, I'm starving.
I just could eat.
I'm just like, yeah, I could like constantly have a little snack.
Could have a banana.
Well, I wasn't thinking of banana, but I was thinking like,
Just thinking about those chicken nuggets.
oh god, I could eat some nuggets now. Some chicken nuggets and some barbecue sauce.
I do love McDonald's chicken nuggets.
Oh, we can't talk about McDonald's again.
Okay, we'll stop.
But anyway, the hunger's normal.
We're like making them crave food now because we've just talked about chicken nuggets. Sorry, guys. Sorry to everyone who's dieting, and sorry to Leah.
Yeah, thanks. But you're gonna be hungry if you're dieting. Like I say to my clients all the time, like it's okay a bit. You're like, you are not gonna die. Like humans can go like a long time without food,
especially like in the nicest way possible. If you've got quite a bit of body fat on you, like you know, like they say it's like 2 weeks or a week. I don't know. Like I really don't think it's like that set. I feel like if you're genuinely quite a large person,
you could probably go.
You could probably go a bit longer.
I mean, we're not saying don't eat for 2 weeks. We're just saying like if you don't eat as much for a few days, like you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, like just at the end of the day, like as long as you hydrate and like it's just one of those, like hunger's hunger at the end of the day. And let's now kind of like move on into the sense of like how to manage your cravings.
Yes. Tips.
And like tips and stuff. What we're gonna do is, did you want to do like we've already kind of like dabbled on periods and stuff, but obviously there's like, personally for me, I feel like there's 2 different levels of cravings. There's like, you're generally just craving something because you're dieting, but there's something that you've experienced this week, which is ravenous cravings and severe kind of like upset towards the cravings.
Like next level period cravings.
So maybe we should kind of pull the 2 apart. Maybe we should just talk about general dieting.
Yeah, that's
and
good
then
idea.
we'll talk about how to actually manage the period ravenous phase in terms of like lifestyle, what you'd give to a lifestyle client, and then maybe like how we experienced it through prep.
Let's do that. That's a good idea. Yeah.
So in terms of like cravings, and obviously like I think a lot of you guys see all these prep hacks, which, you know what, they're actually a relatively good idea, because it does allow you to have that kind of flexibility of, you know, having something kind of sweet. I didn't hear that.
Oh God, my note just clicked.
And it does give you that kind of sense of choice. And I feel like that's the one thing that helps kind of trigger cravings, is feeling quite restricted. And not being able to, like, as soon as someone says, no, you can't have that, immediately you want that.
Yeah, that's just human nature, though.
Like, that's how it is. So, like, I think one thing we'll do, like, tip.
Yeah.
I think my first tip in, like, managing hunger is having meal timings.
Yes, definitely
Meal
agree.
timings is so important. And personally for me, do you know what? I used to be a 5 meal a day girl.
Yeah.
But since working with Meg, I'm now a 6 meal a day girl.
Oh, extra food.
Not extra food, just spread out into 6 meals.
Is that every day, like training day and rest day?
Every day. Every day.
You like it better?
And I love it.
Oh, that's good.
Because obviously my cravings have been really high post-show.
Yeah.
And when you eat 5 times a day, it's about 2.5 to 3 hours in between each meal.
Yeah.
However, with having 6 meals, it's 2 hours maximum until you have to eat your next meal.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're eating all day.
Yeah.
So I've definitely found, like, eating smaller amounts but more frequently at the same calorie goal has, because I'm the ability to change, all my meals are different. So it's like I'm having egg and crumpets in one meal. Then I'm like, cool, I have oats in another.
Yeah.
Then I'm having pasta and beef in another. Then I'm having chicken and rice. And then I'm having yogurt and whatever.
Yeah.
And then so that element of choice.
Are they different on a rest and a training?
Yeah,
completely?
different macros and stuff.
Okay,
and
yeah.
like different types of food.
Yeah.
But like the meal timings and how many meals you have, I think is really important to help with cravings.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also, you know, that links back to what we said about take the decision making away. Because if you're like, right, these are my meal timings.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's when I'm eating. If you've got a meal timing at 12 and then another one at 2, if you get to 1 and you're like, oh my God, I'm hungry. You're like, well, I've got a meal at 2 and that's when I'm eating.
It's an hour.
Yeah, if you're just tracking your food as you go and you're in a fat loss phase and you've got 800 calories left for the day and it's 1 and you're hungry, you're like, oh, I'll just have like a chocolate bar, I'll have a snack and I'll just track it. So it's like you're constantly making decisions like, oh, shall I eat, shan't I eat?
Yeah.
So again, it's like linking back to take the decision making away because you're like, right, this is my plan, this is what I need to hit, that's what I'm eating.
Exactly.
Job done.
Like, you've got it almost to look forward to rather than going, should I?
Yes.
So I definitely think that's an important one.
Yeah. My first one will be, and I feel like I've really done this year and I feel like it's made so much difference, is don't make your meals like really plain and boring. Like even when you're on prep, like add seasoning to your food, you know, like cook your meals nicely, put like low calorie sauces on them and make them tasty. Because like one of my meals, right, says on the instructions 130 grams of chicken breast, 100 grams of green veg.
Yeah.
And I could take that quite literally and literally cook chicken and have broccoli.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Today I had chicken with barbecue seasoning, put butterfly lettuce on it so it makes it a bit like nice and crispy.
Yeah.
And then I had sliced green beans in a pan with tender stem broccoli, but I like diced it up, and then courgette. And I put it all in the pan, mixed it all up, pan fried it, put a load of like salt on it, put some garlic in it.
Yeah.
And then I've got this oh God, what sauce is it? It's this really nice, it's called tomango sauce.
Oh.
It's really good. It's like mango tomato ketchup. So I think it's 10 calories per 10 grams.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I normally have like ketchup or mayo or something.
Yeah.
So I had like 30 grams of that and I mixed it all in with the pan. So it was like all mixed in with the...
So it's like saucy.
It's like barbecue, mango-y, veg-y, and it was just like all mixed into one. So like you can see the difference between that and just having plain chicken and broccoli.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. Like, I even think, like, no matter what phase you are in, like, off-season or, like, you know, off-season or prep, like, you should make you feel nice, because
Sania's brain fried.
I am so tired. I went out last night.
Shocking.
No, but, like, you should still make your meals nice, because, like, you should look forward to them, right?
Yeah.
So it's like one of those, as long as you're tracking it, and it's the consistency.
Yeah.
Like, because as you do diet, you probably will find that if you don't track your sources, and I've definitely been...
and your veg as well.
Yeah, I've
It's easy to
definitely
build it up.
been I definitely did that. You just add more and more and more. So as long as you're keeping it consistent, it's you've got to enjoy your food, because if you don't, you'll go, that was shit. Now none of my cravings have been subsided. Like, go to the shop and go, what seasoning do I fancy today?
Yeah.
And that can be the decision, and that can be your craving.
Yeah, I've literally done that this week. So I've literally gone to the shop and got loads of different sauces, loads of different like seasonings.
But that cost a fortune.
It did. It cost me like a good 60 quid, but we'll move on from that. But now I'm stocked up.
Prep.
Yeah, I know, prep purchases, but I can't spend my money on my Chelsea at the minute, so that's what it is. But now I'm like, I've got loads of choice whenever I come to my meal. I can like make it really nice.
Yeah.
But I think I did this right. Sorry, tangent. In off season last year, I got to the point where I was really struggling to get my meals in, and now looking back, I'm like, I got so lazy. And you know what? It really was flagged up to me. You know, when I went to Bristol, just gone with Rosie, and I saw Jake, the videographer, and she was like eating her off-season meals, and she was like making these really nice meals, and I was like, I've got way too lazy with my food.
See, I am such a foodie, but you'll only see me get lazy if I've stayed at Reese's house and I have to use his stuff. But if I'm at home in my kitchen with my seasoning and my sauces, like, I can put away food, so like it takes a lot for me to be like lethargic. But like, I always make my food nice, because for me it's one of those things where it's like, if I got to want to like the look of something, want to enjoy it and eat it. Yeah. You know?
But I feel like that really got flagged up to me, and I was like, A, I need to take more time to actually make my meals nicer, and B, I need to bring in some more flexibility. Like, I was literally eating, if I had veg in my meal, I was just whacking a load of broccoli on my plate, and I was like, I could have had so much more variety with that. Yeah. So I think that's my goal. I think you just need to mix it up and keep it really interesting. Like, put some time into making your meals nice, and like thinking of some different things you can have, because if you're tracking your macros right, you can literally have so many nice meals. There's
so many seasoning out there, like, and you can follow so many pages where they have like really, really good kind of like, don't be a classic Brit and just use the same seasoning on everything. Like, just try something new, because you might come up with something that you really, really like. So
even things, sorry, I'm diverging here, but even things like, if you're on prep, you can get like the Nando's seasoning bags.
Yeah, and make your chicken with that. And you can
put your chicken in like Nando's seasoning bags. So there's so much you can do.
So like, let's say for example, your family are like going for a Nando's and you're craving a Nando's. Like, let's say you get a takeaway Nando's. You could make your own takeaway Nando's and still enjoy that with your... Because I feel like that's another part where cravings come from, is because there's people around you who maybe might not be dieting, and then you're surrounded by that. But think of alternatives and that kind of stuff. But my next tip would be things like low sugar drinks. Obviously, I think a lot of you know that is a prep staple, or not even a prep staple. That's
a life
just
staple.
Like, I feel like if you genuinely drink full fat, if you're wasting calories on liquid, I don't even know who you are to me. Like, it just makes no sense. You know, like, all right, I might be outed in the fact that me and Reece shared one full fat Pepsi on a holiday, because that's just our tradition. But like, generally, like, just know, like, there's so much of a variety, and that's the one thing that me and Reece actually looked forward to when we were together. It sounds so sad, because that was our craving, because we there's so much choice. We were like, right, what flavour of Pepsi Max are we going to get today? Yeah. And we'd go, would you like cherry, raspberry, lime? Yeah. And it's like 3 calories, like, it's really, really low. You can drink it, so it's really, really refreshing and really, really nice.
You can put like ice in it and put it in a cup and make it
like a slushy. Like, even things like squash lollipops. If you fancy something sweet but you don't want to drink it and it's a hot day, make some lollipops. Like, those two, I think, are like...
I think diet drinks is a good one.
Diet drinks,
Will came back yesterday and he had like the Tango apple. And he had there's like a tropical Tango Fanta.
You know, since the sugar tax, the best thing to come for bodybuilders in a prep, or just anyone who's dieting, because now every single sugary drink brand has, because of the tax,
they've made it sugar free.
They've made things sugar free, and they've built up on that part of their brand.
Yeah. And I also use a lot of, like, I drink a lot of fizzy water, like apple and elderflower fizzy water.
See, I don't drink fizzy water, but I'll drink like your Volvic,
them as well,
still water. But that's just because I hate sparkling water.
Yeah, I only like it if it's flavoured. Oh. But also stuff that, like, for me, getting up in the morning, having my coffee, having my oat milk in it, and putting the, like, vanilla sugar-free syrup, like, that helps me
Syrups
massively
is
on
really
prep.
good, yes.
Even, like, flavour drops, you can get, like, you know that stuff Phoebe Hagen has that she shows a lot, where it's, like, a flavour and you, like, sprinkle it on top of stuff, and you can get, like, parmesan and garlic toppers and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you can get, like, a birthday cake one. Like, you can put that on top of yoghurt, you can, like, put it on top of your veg, and I feel like that just...
What, birthday cake on veg?
Yeah. No, I'm joking. I meant birthday cake.
You actually were thinking, yeah, I'd have that.
Birthday cake on the yogurt. Can you remember on that? I don't know if you saw me when I... No, you must have done. When I prepped last year, when I got to the end of my universe prep and I was, like, dying at the end. And I had... I got so many messages on this, but my last meal at one point was 100 ml of egg whites with 15 grams of whey and 100 grams of green veg, and I was literally having, like, broccoli egg whites with the whey on top of the egg whites, and I was, oh my god, this is amazing. And looking back, I was like, this looks so
that's vile.
Yeah, but at the time it was so nice.
I haven't seen you do that, but I did do other people do that, and that is dirty behaviour.
I was starving.
Yep, dirty behaviour. Like, right, hear me out here. Surely, having it separate volumizes it more. Didn't think of that one, did you?
No, I didn't. But you know what? I have actually started now doing that with my meals. So, like, you know, my whey.
Please
my
tell
cereal.
me you have them separately.
No, I do.
Yeah, I do.
No, but what I've done is I have my cereal, I pour my almond milk on my cereal, and then I blend my whey up with ice and water. So I've got, like, a nice, like, thick smoothie. Rather than having the whey and the milk on the cereal, so it's like one meal, I've now got, like, 2 parts to my meal.
Exactly. And that's another little hack, is like
tip, splitting meal up.
Splitting meals up, but also, like, I think one thing when it comes to, like, cravings and dieting is meal choice.
Yeah.
Your meal choice, for example, and how calorie dense is something. So, for example...
Sorry, I sat on my leg really funnily.
So, for example, like, let's have a different... rice and chicken with vegetables, really, really nice seasoning. Maybe turn it into, like, a bit of a... Not stir fry, because that's noodles, isn't it?
Yes.
It was something... What? No, it's not, is it?
Stir fry does tend to be noodles, but you could have stir fry veg without the noodles.
Yeah. But, like, even just like a rice dish, like a pan fried rice dish or whatever. Really, really lovely. And that's what, I don't know, like 250 calories.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example. Or you have a really, really small chocolate bar.
Yeah, that's
like,
a really good tip.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you've got, like, 1,200 calories, like, you could actually have 4 quite voluminous meals.
Yes, I agree.
Or you could have 2 relatively decent sized meals,
and
but
snacks.
then, like, 2 snacks, but they're small portion. Like, for example, like, I'm pretty sure, like, packet of crisps is, like,
150 calories.
Yeah, 150 calories. But to put this into perspective for you, like, cream of rice, like, the calories on that is so minimal. Your battery's gonna run out.
Fuck.
Does that mean it's going?
That means it's going and will cut off any second.
So,
maybe we are at 28 minutes.
So, just to kind of finish off what I was saying, just really, really quickly, is essentially just choose your meals wisely, essentially.
Yeah, and also I think with that, like I'll say it to my clients sometimes, I'll go on the MyFitnessPal and they've got like 600 calories of like snacks, and I'm like, you could get like 3 more meals out of that, and you're complaining that you're hungry, but then you've got a cereal bar, and then you've got like a chocolate bar, and then you've got another bit of chocolate, and then you've got like a handful of sweets.
Like,
and I'm
choose your meals wisely, and that's why you're hungry, because you're not fulfilling your hunger. Like, you're just eating to your cravings.
Yeah, 100%. So I think they're kind of tips of navigating it, but accepting that you are going to have cravings. Obviously, if you're on a prep, you just have to suck it up.
Yeah.
I think if you're in a lifestyle kind of diet, you can get away with having a bit of what you fancy, but also what I sometimes do with some girls is I'll sometimes increase the calories if they're really struggling.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's not worth it. Just accept that you're probably going to be at maintenance for a few days, bring your calories up, but then they have to be okay with the fact that, you know, ideally they probably don't want to be doing that every month, because that means that they're only spending 75% of the whole time dieting.
But just for like maybe the first time that they're working with you.
So sometimes, or if someone has a really bad period and they're like, I'm really struggling, I'll just bump the calories up 200 or 300 a day, and sometimes it just takes the edge off. Yeah.
Sorry guys, we had to change the camera.
It died.
So we're gonna continue from where we were.
Yes, about the period situation. So yeah, basically prep, suck it up. Like I said, I really struggled with this. I'm on my period now, right? I had a really tough, like probably 3 days where I was just really, really hungry, and I was like, oh my god, must be getting preppy, and then I realised I was during my period.
It's quite funny because you almost jinxed it in a way, because the Tuesday that we did our podcast,
I was
like, I'm fine, and then like it must have been as soon as I clicked end, you were like, ugh.
I think it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that I really struggled. Because it was the day I was driving down. Yeah, because I drove to Bristol on the Thursday and it was a rest day.
I also suppose this is another thing, guys. It's actually another really, really good tip. Keep yourself busy.
Yeah.
Busy. And with that in context as well, as you were driving, you weren't doing anything. You were just, Bristol's a long drive.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, maybe it was, and also you've got to remember you were out of your own home, so like that
I always find
comfort
it harder.
level.
Do you? Like, I always get hungrier weirdly, or like I feel like I'm more food focused.
I think the reason why it's like that is because when you go away, generally speaking, if I'm visiting someone or if I go away with someone, we'll have a meal. Yeah, and it's based around going out for food. Yeah, so maybe. I think just you do find it hard because you're out of routine, you're not in your own kind of surroundings, your environment, you've driven, there'll be moments in the day, you do expend more energy because you're having to talk to someone for the whole time that you're there. Yeah, true. Do you know what I mean? So like, I think that's probably why you've struggled how much you have, because of you might have found that if you were at home, you probably would have been a lot better. Yeah,
because I was like in my normal routine. Yeah. But I did really struggle the one day in particular, and I was like, oh my god, I'm really hungry. But I just drank loads. Like, I had my Hydromax, I had my like Pepsi Max, and I did it, and I was okay. And I think it just
she survived like everyone else will.
It's just mentally a bit more challenging. You have to like really kind of think, no, okay, come on, just keep going. Like one more day, just to keep doing it. But obviously, when you're a lifestyle client, you don't have to. I think it's tough because obviously
it is based on your goal. Like, I'm sorry, if you're a lifestyle client and you want to lose weight,
you still have to stick to your calories.
You still have to stick to calories, unless, like what Leah said, that if someone, because there are certain severities when it comes to period. Like, there are some girls who generally like seriously struggle with their period. Yeah. I'm luckily not one of those girls. Like, it's funny because we're talking about period cravings, but I actually lose my appetite when I'm on my period.
That does happen to some people.
I lose mine, but like, some people do suffer really, really badly with it. So there does have to be some sort of consideration, because genetically that's just how their periods are for them. Or let's say, for example, you've got like the copper coil, like I do. Sometimes that can really like make your period so much worse, like heavier as well, worse. So like, I suppose there is some sort of consideration in terms of like lifestyle, of like maybe you do have to sort of work around that, but 9 times out of 10 periods are generally kind of, they're uncomfortable, they're a bit shitty, but you just have to think, right, it's one time per month. I can't have an excuse that often.
Yeah. Do you know Sometimes what I mean? You just have to suck it up, grit your teeth, and just
it's
work
temporary.
a little bit harder.
Yeah, it's so temporary. Like, you've just got to remember that. And I think like, knowing that it's temporary and knowing that it's your period, you should go, it's just my period.
It's not me. It's just that really helps me. I'm like, it's my period, and that's why tracking your period, understanding it, can be so helpful. Because you can kind of be logical with it rather than being like, oh my God, I'm so starving, like I need to eat.
Am I on my period today? Or
Yeah.
not on my today, but like, why am I tired? Am I on my period today? Let me just check my app. Let me not check my pants. That was another one of those jokes where like only we find funny.
That was funny though, wasn't it?
No, it really wasn't.
It was.
No, I thought it was funny.
I thought it was funny too.
And you thought it was funny. But I don't think these guys think it's funny. Tell us if you find us funny, please. They're going to be like, no, you're not funny.
We are.
You're like, we are Sania. She's got a gun under the table. But no, like I definitely do feel like there, depending on how you do have periods and stuff, like it does depend on that. But again, like we said, 9 times out of 10, like you've got things like sugary drinks, you've got things like low calorie sauces, you can 10 cal jellies, like people
hot chocolate,
have
40 calories,
like things like syrups. You know what the best thing is actually is frozen fruit. Like frozen fruit is actually quite like
I love frozen
voluminous fruit. And choosing voluminous food and choosing like food that you like there's so many ways around it, and you've really got to just be thinking to yourself like, this is why like the one thing that I really enjoyed about prep was none of my meals were the same. So let's say for example, okay, my pre and post would stay exactly the same, like where they were situated in my day. But let's say, for example, like 3 meals, like obviously that people say, you know, like having no carbs in the morning, like what has its benefits. But at the end of the day, like you guys know at this point that if let's say, for example, my craving at one point in the day was my first meal and it's like, or like my third meal, but it's my first meal, I'm just going to do that.
What, as in swap your meals around?
Swap my meals around just because that will tick my cravings off.
Yeah, to be fair, I do that sometimes.
Yeah, like, I won't do it all the time, but let's say, for example, I'm like, I really don't want to eat this meal, but I really want to eat this meal. I'll, like, if, like, generally, like, I usually have carbs in my first meal anyway. But, like, swapping your meals around, or if you're on a macro, if you're someone who, like, really, really struggles with, like, being on a meal plan, and that's why you're getting a lot of cravings, get your coach to teach you how to be on a macro plan, because you can then choose what food you eat. But then, like we have said before, make sure you choose your meals wisely, and just because you've got 2,000 calories, don't eat one meal of KFC or McDonald's or Burger King, or like one, you know, like that's why it's like calories, but also like macros in the sense of how many carbs you need to have, how many protein and fats you need to have as well.
Yeah, and I also think as well, if you are dieting and you are struggling with cravings and you are struggling with hunger, make sure, obviously not applicable when you're prepping because you're probably on a meal plan, but make sure you're pre-tracking your food, because if you're dieting and you're tracking your food as you go, it's going to be so much harder. Like you
said about decision making, right?
Yeah, like, again, links back to that. Like, make the decisions before, so you're like, right, these are my meals, these are my times, that's what I need to stick to. Goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye. That's the end of the podcast there. But no, like, I just think, like, cravings are, and I do generally, not that I have any scientific knowledge to back this up, but generally I do feel as though women do suffer with cravings a lot more.
Hormones.
Yeah.
That's the
thing. Like, even though they're like, boys always like, you always blame it on hormones, and it's like, because it's true.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just saying it, but, like, I think, like, to wrap it kind of up in like in a summary kind of box is, you know, I had the next sentence but it's gone out of my head. To wrap it up,
it's the hangover.
It is not the hangover, I'm just done.
Do you not want to say that?
No, what was it? No, to sum it all up, it's gone. Can you sum it up for me, please?
To summarise, basically...
This is where she's like, I don't know either.
I'm not used to doing 2 podcasts on the bounce. To summarise, basically, if you're in a fat loss phase, you're going to have cravings, you're going to be hungry. 95% of the time, you just need to suck it up and get your head down and crack on. There are lots of ways to make it easier and more manageable. Make sure you do those first before you think, fuck it, I'm having a takeaway.
Yeah. Or, fuck it, I'm going to have that chocolate bar.
Yeah, make sure you've planned your meals. Make sure you've done the meal timings. You've swapped your food. You've tried the low-calorie options. Like, if you do all that and you're still really struggling, maybe speak to your coach and see if you can get a couple of hundred extra calories if you're on your period. Or if you're not and you're really struggling, you just got to ask yourself, right, okay, well, I'm really struggling. I either stick it out.
Stick it out.
I was getting mixed up between stick it out and suck it up then. Yeah.
I was like, hold on.
So
yeah, I was like, I don't know.
Stick it out.
Yeah, that's genuinely made me like really I had to really think about what you said then.
You have to stick it out. Oh my god, no, I've lost my train of thought.
You have to suck it up. No, you have to stick it out. Do you either stick it out and go closer to your goal, or do you elongate your goal by
adding more food? So you've just got to decide what you want to do and go with that, but make the decision. So I think if you've done everything, you know, try all those tips first, because I'll get clients sometimes that are like, oh, gym period, really had cravings, so I had more food, without even trying any of the other things first. I'm like, have you got your meal timing sorted? Are you pre-planning your food? Have you stopped snacking and replaced it with meals? Have you tried Pepsi Max and lower calorie syrups and sauces? You know, have you tried all of those things first before you jump the gun and
doing
just
meal timings and sorting your routine out? Like, it's so important. And if, you know, like, it is hard. Like, I do have to emphasize with us females,
it's really hard. I have days where I'm like, fuck, like, I'm really struggling. Like,
and you can't even, like, even though you know it's your period, it's so hard to just allow that to be the reason. You almost think it's you, and it is you technically, but it's like just one of those. But just really kind of think to yourself, right, these things are saying these things in my head of what I want. Do you actually want them? Like,
just take a step back as well.
Actually want, like, what's the reason? Like, actually write down the pros and cons of eating the food. Like, if you think about it, pro, it tastes good for 2 seconds. Cons, feel guilty, hinders progress,
moves me further away from my goal.
Like, there's so many more cons, and the only thing that is a pro is that your taste buds get
a hit,
but then it's for literally it's for the time frame that you're eating it for.
It's sorry. It's like delayed versus instant gratification. You get that instant reward from eating the food.
Yes, but you then the reward later is so much better.
Yes, like, you've got to think, right, if you've got a big fat loss goal and you're like, I want to feel amazing, I want to lose 10 pounds, I know that I'm going to feel super confident.
Or whatever.
Yeah, I want to feel good naked in 10 weeks' time or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, is that goal more important to you? Are you going to feel better from getting to that goal, or are you going to feel better for the 2 minutes that it takes you to eat that chocolate bar?
Exactly.
Like, you just have to think about long term.
Not short term.
Not too short. Yeah, literally. It's like the same. If you were saving for a house, right, and you really want this house, it's like, right, well, I really want to buy this new pair of trainers that I've seen. Yeah, I could buy this pair of trainers, or do I want that house in another year's time? It's like the same concept, and it's like, you're never going to get the house if you keep spending all your spare money on the new trainers that come out.
Yeah, no.
Oh God, that's such a good analogy.
Yeah,
isn't
is analogy, or is that not a metaphor?
No, that's an analogy.
Is it? What's a metaphor?
When I can't remember. It's been too long since I did English at school. I think it's when some. I don't know. I can't remember.
No, yeah. We'll cut that out. But anyway, guys.
My stomach just did such a loud grumble then.
Oh, are you hungry?
I am actually, yeah.
Okay, it's because we've been talking about chocolate bars. Don't forget, Leah, what's the end goal? Don't give in to the chocolate bar.
Oh, wait, don't worry.
But anyway, guys, I feel like we should stop it there. Are you happy?
Yes, it's been a good one. Everything? I feel like it's got some good, solid, constructive criticism over.
And also some really dumb comments as well, which I feel like isn't a Sania and Leah podcast without. But also, I quite like the topic around periods. So I was maybe thinking, just like put it out there, is I feel like maybe we could do something like among training, because when I say that I'm on my period and I'm still training, like, people are like, how do you train whilst you're on your period? How do you approach it? And I feel like maybe we could do a topic on that and do like a period kind of series.
That's a good idea.
Because I feel like women do struggle to navigate what to do when they're on their period, because they don't know what to do, because not many women have coaches to guide them, and a lot of women have male coaches who probably don't understand the fatigue build up, who scientifically probably know but don't have that first-hand experience.
Yes, and don't know how to apply it.
So let us know if that's maybe something that you'd want us to do, and maybe that can be a topic that we do in the next couple of weeks. But other than that, I feel like we're going to leave it there.
Yep.
Yeah, we're both going a little bit crazy now.
Yep.
But again, guys, like, thank you so much for listening in. Like, we really appreciate it. And to be honest, I really like the studio. This is really, really cool. It's nice because this actually feels like I'm, in a way, working, but having fun. Like, the Zoom was like, I don't know, it was great, but this feels so much better. And when we get our lights, and when we get the sign, like, it's going to be good. And when we actually have 2 cameras, when I remember, it will be a lot better. But yeah, let's hope. We said this on the first one, but we still haven't edited the first one.
Please work.
So please to God, if we've just wasted our time, I quit.
Same.
We'll just hire someone. Help, please. Help. But no, I feel like we'll be good. But yeah, anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please, please, please like, share it on your story if you listen to us. Like, any of the, like little shares, they help us a lot. It helps us build traction to this and helps us continue growing this podcast. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and we'll speak to you soon.
Bye.